Going to give you a quick run through our latest resource, our newest resource, which is the Road to the Transfer Test English Skills. And this booklet focuses predominantly on error correction and word meanings. So it's designed for children who are coming to the end of primary 5, going into primary 6, the first half of primary 6, and helps them build their skills, these specific skills that are needed for the transfer test. So I'll just take you through it briefly. So the first section is on homophones. So there is a recap of the most common homophones there for you and your child to read through and learn. And then we're into homophone revision. So there's quite a lot of these because homophones play a huge part in the error correction sections in both AQE and GL. So it's important that they learn the common homophones really well in primary 5 and primary 6, so they can run through that and check that they know them. And then we're into our skills section, the homophones 1. So they are looking on the lines of the text. The lines are numbered. So they're looking on line 1 for a word that has been used incorrectly. So they're looking for a homophone. Abby always wanted a cat, but her mum had not allowed her to. Allowed. Okay, so it should be spelled A-L-L-O-W-E-D. And if we look on line 2, not allowed her to have one. So one should be spelled O-N-E. So they can write that on line 2. So it's just letting them giving them the skills to skim and scan through the lines and find the incorrect spellings. So there's 3 of those, all on different topics. And then we are into common spelling errors, what you need to know. So the first section is plurals. So I've listed the different plural spelling rules. And then we've got a little revision section for plural nouns. So they have to rewrite the sentence and find the incorrect spelling mistake. So Jenny liked to read stories about horses before she goes to sleep. Stories should be spelled I-E-S. So they rewrite the sentence. And in brackets after each sentence, it tells them how many spelling mistakes they're looking for to give them a clue. So there's 12 questions for that. And then we're into double consonants. So again, I've listed the rules for you to revise before you do the error correction section, and it's a similar setup to the plural nouns. Frank dragged the heavy box up the stairs. Dragged should have a double G, so they're going to write that out again. So there's 12 questions for that, and then we're into common spelling mistakes. So I've got 100 commonly misspelled words. Now you might think my child really should know how to spell all these. These are quite easy, but you'd be surprised. These are the most common spelling mistakes of this age group. So make sure they know them. And the whole idea is that they'll be able to identify those spelling mistakes in a text. So then we're into finding those spelling mistakes, similar to the previous 2 sections, 12 questions. And then finally, we have dropping the E and adding ing, ed, and er. So a list of common ones, a few examples to practice, and then we're into the common spelling errors skills pages. So this is a mixture of all the different spelling errors that we've just discussed, and again they're finding them on a line. So on line 1, bees are vital members of our natural world. Natural is spelled incorrectly. Okay, so they're going to write natural with the correct spelling on line 1. We've got 3 of those to practice. And then we're straight into punctuation errors. So a page with punctuation tips for them to run through. And then we've got contractions. So we've done a focus on the contractions, some ones for them to practice, and a focus on apostrophe of possession, which they should learn at the end of P5. Many children find this tricky, especially the ones with plural nouns. So revise those carefully. And then we're into punctuation errors skills. So there is a text and it tells you how many mistakes are in the text, and they simply have to write it out again and correct it. So we're looking for full stops, capital letters, commas, punctuation like speech marks, question marks, etc. So there's 3 of those. And then we're into words similar in meaning. So this word similar in meaning, there are many questions scattered throughout comprehension in the GL and the AQE that ask children to find a word similar in meaning in the text to one that's given. So this really is a skill that they have to work on. So there's a few tips there for you to read through as to how you might go about that. And then we're straight into it. So I'll give you an example. So find words similar in meaning to the words below. So on line 1, we're looking for a word that means went back. The rain stopped and the 3 children returned to the house. The rain stopped and the 3 children went back to the house. So the word is returned. So we should be able to replace this word in the text and it should still make sense. So had a view of, line 2, Victoria looked out the little window that overlooked the garden. Victoria looked out the window that had a view of the garden. So the word is overlooked. So they write overlooked on the line. So there are 3 of these for them to practice. And then we're into mixed questions. So this is a mixture of everything that we've covered in the booklet, and there are 8 texts for them to work their way through. So these are very similar to the passages in the middle of the AQE test and the GL test that ask them specific questions, and we have to look at specific lines. So we've got a word that's used incorrectly, and in brackets a homophone. So they're looking for a homophone, and they've got to look at all 5 of these lines and find out which one has a word that's used incorrectly and circle it. There's a spelling error in one of the lines. So again, they check out each of these lines individually and find the spelling error. Apostrophe is missing from a word in the passage. Circle the line that the apostrophe is missing from. A comma is needed instead of a full stop in the text. And then at the bottom, we have words similar in meaning. So they have to find a word similar in meaning to timidly in the text and a word similar in meaning to frightened. So it goes through the whole range of skills, and there's 8 of these in total. So plenty of practice. I'll just go all the way to the bottom. This, of course, does come with an answer book. You do not have to work the answers out yourself. I was thinking, you know, it could also be useful for anyone who is in P6 heading into P7 who has specifically struggled with the error correction and words in similar meaning sections in their transfer test practice papers. It might be helpful for them to take a little step back and just go through the techniques in this book before tackling any more practice papers. I think that would be enormously beneficial. Okay, so you can find it on our website, www.ontargetresources.co.uk. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me. Thank you.